And I made answer, were there nothing else for which to praise the heavens, but only love, that only love were cause enough for praise. Lightly he laughed, as one that read my thought, and on we went, but ere an hour had passed, we reached a meadow slanting to the north, down which a well-worn pathway courted us to one green wicket and a private hedge. This, yielding, gave into a grassy walk, through crowded lilac ambush, trimly pruned, and one warm gust, full fed with perfume, blew beyond us as we entered in the cool. The garden stretches southward in the midst. A cedar spreads his dark green layers of shade. The garden glasses shone, and momently the twinkling laurel scattered silver lights. Eustace, I said, this wonder keeps the house. He nodded, but a moment afterward he cried, look, look! Before he ceased I turned, and ere a star can wink, beheld her there. For up the porch there grew an eastern rose, that flowering high the last night's gale had caught, and blown across the walk, one arm aloft, gowned in pure white, that fitted to the shape. Holding the bush to fix it back, she stood, a single stream of all her soft brown hair poured on one side. The shadow of the flowers stole all the golden gloss, and wavering lovingly lower, trembled on her waist. Ah, happy shade, and still went wavering down. But ere it touched a foot that might have danced, the green sward into greener circles dipped, and mixed with shadows of the common ground. But the full day dwelt on her brows and sunned her violet eyes, and all her hebe bloom, and doubled his own warmth against her lips. And on the bounteous wave of such a breast as never pencil drew, half light, half shade, she stood, a sight to make an old man young. So rapt we neared the house, but she arose, and roses mingled with her fragrant toil, nor heard us come, nor from her tendance turned into the world without, till close at hand, and almost ere I knew mine own intent, this murmur broke the stillness of that air, which brooded round about her. Ah, one rose but one, by those fair fingers culled, were worth 100 kisses pressed on lips less exquisite than thine. She looked but all, suffused with blushes, neither self-possessed nor startled, but betwixt this mood and that, divided in a graceful quiet paused, and dropped the branch she held, and turning, wound her looser hair in braid, and stirred her lips for some sweet answer, though no answer came, nor yet refused the rose, but granted it, and moved away, and left me statue-like, an act to render thanks. I, the whole day, saw her no more, although I lingered there, till every daisy slept, and love's white star beamed through the thickened cedar in the dusk. So home we went, and all the lifelong way, with solemn gibe did Eustace banter me. Now, said he, will you climb the top of art? You cannot fail but to work in hues to dim the Titanic flora. Will you match my Juliet? You, not you, the master, love, a more ideal artist, he than all. So home I went, but could not sleep for joy, reading her perfect features in the gloom, kissing the rose she gave me o'er and over, and shaping faithful record of the glance that graced the living. Such a noise of life swarmed in the golden present, such a voice called to me from the years to come, and such A length of bright horizon rimmed the dark, and all that night I heard the watchman peal the sliding season. All that night I heard the heavy clocks knulling the drowsy hours dispensers of all good. O'er the mute city stole with folded wings, distilling odors on me as they went to greet their fairer sisters of the East. Love at first sight, firstborn and heir to all, made this night thus. Henceforward, squall nor storm could keep me from that Eden where she dwelt. Light pretexts drew me, sometimes a Dutch love for tulips, then for roses, moss or musk, to grace my city rooms. Our fruits and cream, served in the weeping elm, and more, a word could bring the color to my cheek. A thought would fill my eyes with happy dew. Love troubled life within me, and with each the year increased, the daughters of the year. One after one, through that still garden passed, each garlanded with her peculiar flower, danced into light, and died into shade, and each passing touched with some new grace, or seemed to touch her, so that day by day, like one that never can be wholly known, her beauty grew till autumn brought an hour. For Eustace, when I heard his deep I will, breathed like the covenant of God, to hold from thence through all the worlds. But I rose up, full of his bliss, and following her dark eyes, felt earth as air beneath me, till I reached the wicket gate, and found her standing there, ere we sat down among a garden mound, two mutually enfolded, Love the third between us in the circle of his arms, and wound us both, and over many a range of waning lime the grey cathedral towers, across a hazy glimmer of the west, revealed their shining windows. From them clashed the bells. We listened, with the time we played. We spoke of other things, we coursed about the subject most at heart, more near and dear, like doves about a dovecote, wheeling round the central wish, until we settled there. Then, in that time and place, I spoke to her, requiring, though I knew it was mine own, yet, for the pleasure that I took to hear, requiring at her hand the greatest gift, a woman's heart, the heart of her I loved. And in that time and place she answered me, and in the compass of 3 little words, more musical than ever came in one, the silver fragments of a broken voice, made me most happy, faltering, I am thine. Shall I cease here? Is this enough to say that my desire, like all strongest hopes, by its own energy fulfilled itself, merged in completion? Would you learn at full how passion rose through circumstantial grades, beyond all grades developed? And indeed, I had not stayed so long to tell you all, but while I mused came memory with sad eyes, holding the folded annals of my youth. While I mused, love with knit brows went by, and with a flying finger swept my lips, and spake, Be wise, not easily forgiven are those who, setting wide the doors that bar the secret bridal chambers of the heart, let in the day. Here, then my words have end. Yet might I tell of meetings, of farewells, of that which came between, more sweet than each, in whispers like whispers of the leaves, that tremble round a nightingale in sighs, which perfect joy perplexed for utterance, stole from her sister sorrow. Might I not tell of difference, reconciliament, pledges given, and vows, where there was never need of vows, and kisses, where the heart on one wild leap hung tranced from all pulsation, as above the heavens between their fairy fleeces pale, sowed all their mystic gulfs with fleeting stars, or while the balmy glooming crescent lit, spread the night haze along the river shores, and in the hollows, or as once we met, unheedful though beneath a whispering rain, night slid down one long stream of sighing wind, and in her bosom bore the baby sleep. But this whole hour your eyes have been intent on that veiled picture veiled for what it holds, may not be dwelt on by the common day. This prelude has prepared thee. Raise thy soul, make thine heart ready with thine eyes. The time is come to raise the veil, and behold her there, as I beheld her ere she knew my heart. At first, my first, last love, the idol of my youth, the darling of my manhood, and alas, now the most blessed memory of mine age. Love is a practice for the sage, so light a foot will never wear out the everlasting flint, the numerous haunt of flies on summer eves. Her beauty grew till drawn in narrowing arcs, the soothing autumn touched with sallower gleams. The granges on the fallows at that time, tired of the noisy town, I wandered there. The bell tolled 4, and by the time I reached the wicket gate, I found her by herself. I am sublimed, gross earth supports me not, I walk on air. And when we say that something's godlike, is it our own limitations of hope that we have projected there?